Hi everybody, I am Sudzy Mama, and today I am actually in Sandusky, Ohio at Cedar Point. If you guys have never been there, great place to take your family for a vacation. Sudzy family comes here every year, or at least part of the family comes every year. Today we don't have as many as usual, but we come up from Tennessee and we have a great week here. Since I'm at Cedar Point and not at home, I can't make soap, obviously. So I thought I would take the time to just talk a little bit about why I started making soap and what the benefits are of it. A lot of people don't know what they're looking for when they look at handmade soap. So you have fads that go around. You know, there was a great goat's milk fad, right? I get people coming up to me, oh, so do you do goat's milk soap? I don't do goat's milk soap. It's not because I don't think goat's milk soap is good. It's just that you can get the same benefits that you're getting in goat's milk soap in other ways, and I've just chosen to do other ways. When you're looking at handmade soap, why would you buy it, first of all? It's more expensive than what you're getting off the shelf at your local store. The main thing is not actually what is in your soap, but what's not in your soap. So those of you who know me personally, maybe you've read a little bit on my website. In 2012, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. I'm not blaming any soap for my cancer. There are a lot of things in our environment that have increased cancer in general. Once you deal with a diagnosis like that, you start looking at your lifestyle and saying, could I have done something to prevent this? What am I at risk for in the future? Over the last couple of years, I've had some other health concerns. It's raised my likelihood of getting breast cancer, right? So obviously my body doesn't deal with cancer well. You might get cancer and never know it because your body just attacks those cells that are not right and it destroys them, which is what a good, healthy body will do. But, some of us, obviously our bodies don't do that right. I started looking at what should I do to help my body fight, health problems, whatever the cause. Cancer feeds on sugar, so one really easy thing for me to do is I don't drink sodas. I might have a pop once in a great while, but we don't keep it in the house. We don't keep even juice in the house. Sometimes I drink cranberry juice because it's good for your urinary tract system. But I go out and buy cranberry juice specifically for those times when I think I might need it. I don't keep it in the house all the time because that's just forms of sugar that your body doesn't process as well as it should. That's just one thing that's really easy to do, like a lifestyle change that could help give my body the best opportunity to fight cancer in the instance that it might have to. Obviously, the things we put in our body are really, really important. And if you're dealing with any sort of disease, you really need to look at what you're putting in your body. But at the same time, it has to be sustainable. A lot of times the reason that we don't lose weight is because we go on this diet and we're all gung-ho and we do really good for 2 or 3 weeks and we see great results, but you just can't keep it up because you're being too strict, and then you give in and you crash, gain some weight back, and then you get depressed and discouraged and you give up, and then the first of the year comes around and you try it all over again. I didn't want to go through that. I tried to make changes that I know I can keep on doing, that aren't hard for me to keep up on. Cutting back on sugar is pretty easy for me. That's one of the things that I've done. Another thing that I've done is I make my own bread. My husband bought me a bread maker. It's not like I'm this person who slaves all day in her kitchen so that her family can have bread for a week. I just throw it in the bread maker. It's pretty simple. But that's one way that I know that I'm not getting preservatives in my bread that I don't need. And that's just another thing that is sustainable for me. Soap is sustainable for me. Your skin is the biggest organ of your body. So what are you doing with that organ, right? What is it absorbing? It comes into contact with all sorts of stuff in our environment. So what is it absorbing? Not only what is it absorbing in general, but when you're in the shower, you've got heat and moisture. Your pores are all opened up, and that is the time when your body is going to absorb the most through your skin. So at that time, when your skin is most open to whatever it's exposed to actually absorbing those things, what are you exposing it to? There are a lot of chemicals in our body washes, and I know everybody's gone to body washes because body washes are simple. You've got your little body proof and you just squirt it on, and you don't lose the little bit of the soap bar at the end. Like, when I was growing up, we all had soap bars, and you get to the little bit and nobody wants to use that tiny little bit, so you just toss it out. And so you don't feel like you're wasting soap when you use body wash, because you're going to use all of it. And I get that, and it's great smells and whatever, and the moisturizing factor, and that's great. But there are a lot of chemicals in your body washes. There have to be a lot of chemicals in your body washes in order to keep it in that semi-liquid state. That's not a natural state for most substances. So they have to formulate it to keep it in that body wash format for a really long time. It can't just be long enough for you to use the bottle. It's got to be able to sit on the shelf for a long time. Then you add in fragrances, you add in colors. There's a lot of chemicals that are going into your body wash, and we don't think anything of it. We just, lather up. And so soap was something that I was just kind of intrigued by at first. And then the more I started looking into it, the more I was like, man, this is actually like something I can do. And this is something that would be really beneficial for me. Not necessarily, again, for the things that are in the soap, but for the things that I'm not using, by not using the commercial, I won't even say soaps, because if it's soap, I'm pretty okay with it. But I will say detergents of some sort. The body washes, that's not soap. We can get into it, maybe I will in another video. Most of you are not buying soap. You're buying a body wash or a cleanser. And there's a reason that they're labeled with those terms. So I'm just using soap now. That's all I use. I use actual soap on my body, on my face, and that's all I use to wash myself with. I even have a bar shampoo and bar conditioner. I don't make those, but I do buy those. And now those aren't soap either, but they are something that's a little bit different, and for the same reasons, to try to get some of those extra chemicals that I was exposing myself to out of my daily routine. Just reduce it, right? I'm never going to eliminate all of the harmful things in our environment and in our life, but there are things I can do to reduce it. So that's my goal. My goal is to just do things that I can keep up, things that I won't fall off the train on, to reduce harmful exposure. These things aren't harmful once in a while, but over a long time, they can weaken your body's system and keep your body from doing what it should do naturally. And so I firmly believe that's why we have so much cancer in our society. That's just the beginning, when there are other issues, obviously. So I make handmade soap. So what goes into my soaps is oils, both plant oils and animal oils. I'm very partial to tallow, and I will get into that at some point also. I have a local source for tallow, which I'm really thankful for. I use a lot of tallow. Lye goes into soap. If it doesn't have lye, it's not actually soap. And then some sort of liquid which dissolves the lye. I use water, which is, basic. I'll use whey from local raw milk that I might have used the milk for something and I have whey left over. I'll use whey, which has a lot of the proteins in it that were in the milk. So I will use beer and wine. Those do some really wonderful things for the finished product of soap. So depending on what I want, then that's another ingredient that I'll use. I do use fragrance oils, which are different than essential oils. I don't use fragrance oils in all of my soap, but most of them do have fragrance oils, and that's because people like their soap to smell good. I'm cutting out a whole lot of stuff, but the fragrance oil, while it is a commercial thing, it's very minimal and it adds a nice scent, and I like it. I do have soaps that don't have fragrance oils in them, so for the people who are trying to be really, really strict, I have that also. And then a lot of my soaps, but again, not all of them, have color, and I generally use a mica for coloring. And that's it. There's no preservatives in there. There's no wonky chemicals that you don't know the names of. It's just basically fat and lye make soap. And it's a great process. It's really cool, really neat if you have a kid that's interested in anything sciencey. There are wonderful soap making videos out there. It's just a great process. I don't know, crazy cool to me. I think it's awesome. So that's it. That's why Sudzy Mama came to be. I started making the soap and my family started using it, loving it, and here I am. So I love it. I think another great thing about the soap is if I never sold a bar, my family would still use it. It's one of those practical things. I would never want to sell something that I feel like is just a moneymaker, right? Like I want the things that I do to count for something. And I feel like making soap is just one of those really small things in life that it means like it's worthwhile. It's worth my time. It's not just, oh hey, here I have a cool idea, people will pay money for this. Like I actually believe in the soap, and I hope that it can be a benefit to the people who buy it. So that's Sudzy Mama. I'm Sudzy Mama, and that's why we're here. So if you have any questions, if you want to learn more about anything, please let me know. I don't know how many videos I'm going to do. I'm not great at this, in case you can't tell. And it's not my passion. My passion is not to be on social media. That's not why I want to do this. My passion really is the soap. I really want you to know about the products because I believe in them and I think they're great. And I think it's worth your time and I think it's worth your money, but you won't know unless you know. And so the videos they're just for you. They're just to let you know about the product and why it's good. So if you have any questions or comments or thoughts, please let me know because I would love to address those for your sake and for anybody else who might have the same question but doesn't want to ask. So thank you so much for your time. All right. Have a great day. Bye.